Hey y'all, this is Lydia. This is a collective reading for Earth signs. And this is sort of a kickoff of a new project I have in the works of doing weekly readings. And I'm going to start with the elements for now, but the goal is to eventually expand into doing individual signs. But for now, we're going to do elements, starting with Earth signs, especially since we're coming off of a full moon in Virgo. And this is a very initiating sort of full moon where we're being asked to really put foot to pavement on moving forward in more integrity on one hand, and on the other hand of doing this tending to the sacred details of what needs to happen in order for us to see our visions through and to really start grounding in these spiritual, energetic, and vision-based shifts we've been going through. And it's really powerful because it's opposing a powerhouse energy of the sun in Pisces with Jupiter, Mercury, and Neptune all together in Pisces. And this is big energy. This is big, spiritual mission energy. This idea of really setting out to put foot to pavement on the things we feel we belong doing, or living the life we feel is meant for us, and really starting to materialize that and to put in the work and to put in the dedication and commitment to materialize it. Because we also have a grand Earth trine that formed with this full moon with the North Node and Pluto, which is also breaking away things that are keeping us from stepping into this higher expression of ourselves as trying to birth. So, exciting stuff. I'm going to do three sort of compartmental spread, with the first being what our awareness is on right now. The second being how can we nurture what's being presented to us, or what's been asking for our attention. And then the third will be the boon, the gift, or how the universe is supporting us in moving through perhaps challenge, perhaps just the situation or the transition we're in at this time. So our awareness right now is in mothering, nurturing what we want to birth into the world. And with this card, I've always gotten an air of protection. There's a hand over a pearl there. There's also this idea of, it can be a project, but it can also just be sort of more ubiquitous, the life we want to live, or this energy we want to experience in our day-to-day lives, and the energy of our lives and how we feel from day to day. We're being asked on one hand to protect this new feeling that we've been shown. On the other hand, we're also being asked to birth it, to really nurture it, and to give it our loving attention so that it can sprout. And in the back of my mind, I'm also getting this Four of Cups energy of this, if we half-heartedly put our energy into something, we'll get half-hearted results. So there's this idea too of, it's time to really put both feet in. It's time to really commit the heart fully to what we want to birth into the world and what we want to birth for ourselves. That's the awareness. And how we can nurture this awareness, or how we can nurture this birthing that we are going through, is the moon in Capricorn, practicality. So this is practical steps we can take to move forward. And there's a sense too of not blowing ourselves out, or not, building it so big in our minds that we become nervous or worrisome or fearful of failure or even success, but to really think about practical, grounded ways we can move forward into birthing something and into nurturing something into a material expression. And it could be anything from losing weight to not being so negative in our mindset, to a career or a project, or even relationships. And we're being asked not to get ahead of ourselves, to really be grounded, and to think of how we can practically put foot to pavement in materializing something, and even having a plan or building an underlying structure. The moon is our foundations, and Capricorn is structure. So a practical, stable structure, an energetic structure we can use in order to really see something through in a sustainable way as well. There's this image of these people tending fields and harvesting wheat. There's this idea of sustainability and how we can move forward in long-lasting ways where we're not, racing against something, or, trying to fight something, but okay, let's think of one step after the other, and what step can I focus on now that, I can handle right now, so that I can step into more responsibility later. And how the universe is supporting us. Divine Feminine. The frequency of Divine Feminine supports our receptive, nurturing, and soft side. allowing it to express itself openly and helping us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. And this is, I mean, it's interesting that this card came up because we have the Mother, which the mother of the zodiac is Cancer. We have the Moon in Capricorn, which the Moon is Cancer's rulership. And then we have the Divine Feminine, which is a Cancerian water-based energy of our creativity and also our intuition and our receptivity and our ability to not only define what we want to create in the world, but to really start with the feeling of it and to manifest from the feeling. We're learning right now that the feeling is the frequency, and how we feel when we start taking steps or we begin a project can sort of indicate how it'll play out. There's this thing I keep seeing on the internet about if you get butterflies in your stomach when you meet someone new, that's actually a warning sign that, you know, perhaps there's something that is a red flag that is telling you that perhaps this person isn't meant for you. There's this sense that we're learning that the energy that we go into something with is important for how it'll manifest out in the long term. And we're being asked to really be conscientious and to really be attentive to that, and to find that energy, that frequency that we want to feel when we start or begin something new. And this could be anything. It can be something as simple as just like a small lifestyle change, but not beginning it from a place of resistance, but actually waiting for that feeling, that right feeling and that inner knowing to really start moving forward on it so that we can begin from that place, and that being the first seed that we plant for something that'll sprout later, that seed is pure. And that seed is also something that you have a very nurturing energy around, something you've protected and really cultivated within yourself that is uniquely yours. And again, in taking that into practical, actionable steps, you know, Capricorn is cardinal earth. It's about getting started and to really do what needs doing in order to see something through, but doing it from an emotionally stable place, one, which is the frequency we get started from, and two, how we can sustain that long term so that we can see something through. And divine trust as well. The divine feminine isn't linear. It's also that trust of, okay, I'm going to get started in divine right time. This will start to take root in divine right time, and to being in that trust and faith and inner stability within ourselves and that inner authority. Capricorn is also authority, to know when to take action, when to pull back, when to nurture, and when to actually go into our divine masculine linear to start taking actionable steps in a more linear fashion to see something through. And we're going to clarify through with the Fountain Tarot and Animal Spirit deck. So with the Mother, we have the Three of Swords. So heartbreak, perhaps sharp truths. I'm getting, and this has been in the astrology too, this fear of loss and also protecting our creations from outside influence and perhaps even disapproval from loved ones, and feeling perhaps isolated or heartbroken that people aren't as excited as we are about what we want to create, or they can't fully understand it. In this card in particular too, there's this rainbow there. There's this rainbow of light where even if, let's say, we share something we want to do and we realize that we've compromised it because of someone's response to it or someone's reaction to it, that perhaps that is also a catalyzing force to get us started. And that whatever happens, even if it is hurtful in the moment, there is this light there that, and again, going back to trust, that light is us trusting that whatever happens, you know, if a relationship is challenging or if a relationship crumbles away because of what we're trying to birth and they're not necessarily fitting into the plan anymore, to seeing the light in that and to seeing that it's not necessarily a bad thing, that perhaps that soul contract is up and it's served us up until this point very well, and to thank it for how it served us so that we can move forward without burning any bridges. And with the Moon in Capricorn, we have the Eight of Cups, walking away from things that are no longer working, walking away from things that keep us stuck, not moving forward, and leaving behind perhaps things that have always been in the pursuit of something higher, something new. Capricorn climbs the mountain. And perhaps we're feeling too that it's time to move on from something, and it's time to start letting things go with more love and grace in order to move forward as well, which brings us to the Divine Feminine, which we have here, the Devil. And I'm getting purity and purifying, and us being in that nurturing energy to purify perhaps even old ways of perceiving challenging circumstances, going back to this Three of Swords and seeing our challenges and perhaps seeing heartbreak as a release and something that we need to go through in order to move forward in meaningful ways. And us really being present with that and seeing the deeper wisdom in that, and allowing to the freedom that results for us to really tap into a new level of our creativity and a new depth to our creativity, and even seeing that within ourselves. There's this sense of breaking chains with the devil and breaking away from perhaps an over critical or linear way of thinking into something more open and more adaptable and more free and creative. And clarifying through one more time, we have with the Mother and the Three of Swords, the Gazelle, which is this hypersensitivity, this hyper awareness, and perhaps this tenderness that comes with mothering something and birthing something into the world and protecting it, and being honest about perhaps where we're sensitive and how we can protect it. Maybe it's not talking about what we're trying to birth. Maybe it's taking actions toward it before anyone even knows about it, because we know that's what we need in order to succeed. And with the Moon in Capricorn and the Eight of Cups, we have Dragon, bearing witness to our true self. And the dragon also sees beauty in all things, regardless of what's happening. I'm getting that, one, we're getting a clear view of how we can move away from things that are no longer serving us, but the dragon too is also, again, this idea of seeing the beauty in all our experiences, and also viewing our difficulties as a gift, as, you know, what's happening now in order to prepare us and strengthen us to move forward and to materialize our goals. Capricorn is a very strong sign. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It faces pressure head on, it faces challenge head on, and it knows that by moving through that challenge, it's also a strengthening exercise to strengthen our nervous system, strengthen perhaps our perceptions, and not being so easily swayed away from what we know in our hearts we want for ourselves. And with the Divine Feminine and the Devil, we have fire ant energy, which is heated energy. It's also this idea of being attracted to situations that feed our imbalance. And with the Divine Feminine too, it's, you know, it's this receptivity, but it's also this compassion for what keeps us out of balance, and perhaps our compulsions and things that we allow to get in our way, so that we perhaps, you know, how our fear plays out to stop us in our tracks. And we're being offered this opportunity to really move past it by seeing it for what it is, but also not fighting it, not letting it take us out of balance, but acknowledging it so we can move forward and so that we can heal and really nurture ourselves into a place of, it doesn't really matter that we have these challenges. It doesn't matter that, you know, I have a tendency to respond or behave in a certain way. Perhaps, you know, noting our self-sabotaging behaviors and being very receptive to, okay, this is how I self-sabotage, this is the root cause of it, and to heal that. And to really be supported by this self-compassion, this self-nurturing of, okay, this is what I'm confronting, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm strong enough to get through it, and it's going to happen in divine right time. I don't necessarily need to fight or force my way through it. But by being present with it and by seeing it as something to strengthen me, to move me forward into higher ground, I don't really have to, you know, sort of try to figure it out. I just need to be aware of it, and that will automatically release it and move me forward and break me into more freedom. So with this full moon in Virgo, it's definitely this energy of initiating us into really taking action and really moving forward into new energy and even into a new perception and way of viewing things. And it seems for earth signs, this is very much about not letting anything get in the way of our creations, especially ourselves, especially our challenges that we're facing right now. So I hope this message resonates. I'm sending love and wishing you well. Bye.